Hi, this is Jenny Brav of Radiant Wholeness Healing. And today I wanted to discuss three really simple tips for when you're in a transformation phase and you're really wanting to anchor some of the shifts that are happening. Because often when we're in these like transition phases from one iteration of self to another, it can feel very wobbly, very push pull. We go from one state to another, and we haven't really integrated the shifts on a deeper level yet. And that takes time and practice. And also with these three tips, which I call celebrate, settle, and trust, it's a way of just letting things intentionally integrate a little more deeply. So the first one is, as I said, celebrate. And that might seem really easy or obvious. And we often skip over that. In my experience, something that has been bothering us for a long time, the minute it shifts, we always forget that it was ever an issue, and we focus on the next thing we need to focus on, or that we think is a problem that we want to bring loving attention to, ideally, or if we're in our minds that we're trying to fix. And so having something that you use that's just a way of saying, oh, I'm celebrating this. And the things that we celebrate don't necessarily have to seem like wins. They can be just getting through something really, really tough, or showing up, or doing the work, even if it feels really tough. So I have a little celebration bell that my clients know well. And, you know, ringing the bell is one way that we celebrate when things are starting to shift, to anchor, when we've gotten through difficult times. I also like to say, yay, that's my celebratory word. I think for other people, like jazz hands, or having like the celebrate emoji, visualize it, draw it, text it to yourself. But really make sure that you take the time to celebrate, because we are evolutionarily and neurologically hardwired towards a negativity bias. So we already weight the things that we view as negative or dangerous so much more. I think it's like 7 to 1 than the things we view as being positive. And so our neural networks, we have these deep, deep grooves towards the negative beliefs, the fear beliefs, the hypervigilance, fight or flight activation. And so when things shift and we don't pay attention, it's kind of like it doesn't even really make an impact on those well-worn grooves. But if we stop and pause and celebrate and say yay and acknowledge ourselves, acknowledge the universe, starts digging little like positive neural pathways or new neural pathways that we can start finding our way back to for next time. And it just feels good in the nervous system as well. So it also gets some of the happy hormones, the oxytocin going, maybe a little dopamine. So celebrate, no matter how small, even if it doesn't seem, as I said, like something that would normally elicit a yay. And so the next little tip for this is to really let this shift settle before your mind runs to the next thing that needs fixing, goes to the future. Really allow yourself to settle into this shift. That can mean taking time. It can mean taking a 15-minute or 15-second or 15-minute if you want, but could be a 15-second pause to breathe into whatever has shifted, feel into if it's a little pattern interruption, what that feels like in your body, how you're feeling about yourself, any new beliefs that might be possible. So, and the settling, so the celebrating is kind of surface level. It's just like, oh, I'm acknowledging. And the settling is kind of like, oh, it's a way to start creating a foundation of the new way of responding, new nervous system feeling. It could be boundaries, whatever it is, an emotion that's not as charged. It's like kind of like a starting to lean back into this as a new possibility, even maybe telling ourselves, oh, it's possible that this could be my new default at some point without attachment or clinging, which will, of course, have the opposite effect, but just opening to that. So celebrate, settle. And as we settle, we start creating almost like a sedimentary layer that we can rest into. It's like, oh, we're creating this foundation of a new possibility, new pattern, new way of being that isn't just transitory, like I had an amazing meditation or workshop or insight and it's all up here, but it hasn't really integrated. Here we're starting to integrate it. You can also feel where it might live in your body. And so once we start settling, that is really linked to the third tip, which is trust. This is maybe not even a tip. Maybe it's more like a result of the first two tips. But it's really starting to feel into that possibility of like, oh, maybe I can trust. Maybe I can trust myself, trust the universe, trust that this new way of being might become my new reality. And again, trust is very different from the clinging. It's like, oh, it's leaning back. It's like a surrender. And in this place of trust, we can maybe start dropping what if questions into our energy fields. What if this were my default setting? What if I were able to be in the world from this heart, open heart channel rather than the hypervigilant, right or wrong, scarcity mind channel? What if I could live from this place of calm rather than anxiety? So, whatever the shift is, the what if creates an opening for trust. All right, so I will leave you with that today. There are lots of other ways to integrate, but those are three quick things to remember as you begin to shift, to transition, to open to new energies, higher vibrations, new ways of being. And as always, like this video if it's helpful, subscribe, turn on notifications, and let me know in the comments below how those landed with you. And if you want to know more about working with me one-on-one, all the information is linked below. Thank you so much.